Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So, 2022 is over, but we're going to take a quick look back because, well, we had an incredible amount of commanders last year, an incredible amount of incredibly powerful ones as well. So, on this episode, I'm going to be taking you through my tier list rankings of the most powerful commanders from 2022. Now, a few disclaimers before we start. These commanders are only going to be ranked in comparison to each other. So, yeah, I mean, they're only going to be compared to 2022 commanders, not ones outside of 2022. Also, on this list, I, of course, am not ranking every single one of the commanders from 2022 because that's like, what, 425 commanders or something ridiculous. So, plus all the background iterations. Yeah, so on this episode, I'm only going to be including commanders that actually showed up in the S tier of their respective set or precons and their tier list rankings for those. So there's, I believe, 15 commanders I'm going to be comparing in this episode. With all that said, let's jump into it. So I do kind of have a slight outline of, what my tier list rankings might be, but those might adjust throughout this episode. We'll see as I discuss them. But yeah, we're going to be starting off from the very beginning of the year, working our way to the end of the year, basically on how these commanders were released. So Hinata Dawn Crown is our first one to discuss. 4/4 Flying Trample Kieran Spirit for 1 blue, red, white. Spells you cast cost 1 less for each target. Spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast for each target. So, yeah, there's a lot to unpack with this one. Basically, the more targets you have, the more cost reduction you get, and there are certain very broken things that you can do with this. I mean, first up, your opponents, let's say they try to cast like an Aether Gale or whatnot, they're not going to be able to do that, really, because that's 6 targets. That's going to be an extra 6 mana, versus, if you do that, with an Aether Gale, you're, basically just paying, 2 mana? I mean, basically, your opponents are getting additional cost for essentially any kind of a targeting spell. It's kind of like mini ward, but also a bigger ward, depending on, how, many targets the spell actually has. And for yourself, again, of course, you're going to take advantage of that cost reduction a ton and have some incredibly powerful plays. I mean, the amount of cost reduction on things can just be absolutely absurd. Saving mana on things, doing some very broken things. My gut says Hinata Dawn Crown, actually, even though we're just starting off with this one, should be an S tier commander with that cost reduction. That's just what my gut says. We shall see, throughout this episode if that changes. But yeah, for now, let's put Hinata in the S tier. Moving on, Lord Xander the Collector from Streets of New Capenna. We have a 6/6 Vampire Demon Noble for 4 blue, black, red, so 7 mana in total. Does a lot of things. Enters the battlefield. Opponents can discard half the cards of their hand rounded down. Attacks. Defending player mills half their library rounded down. Lord Xander dies. Target opponent sacrifices half the non-land permanents they control rounded down. Basically 3 really bad things for your opponents. 3 different triggers, essentially, that you can take advantage of. Of course, the first one you can take advantage of, with blinking. The second one you can take advantage of, by potentially attacking more than one time in a turn. And then the last one you can take advantage of, by actually, maybe using a feigned death type effect, sacrificing Lord Xander, bringing it right back, and then getting, that ETB again, too. So, yeah, there's a lot of potential with this commander. It's going to be a very brutal commander. That being said, 7 mana is a lot, especially in comparison to these other S-tier commanders. And again, yeah, there is some combo potential. You can probably mill someone, with a double milling effect, and you can also, double up on ETBs. You can double up on death triggers. But still, 7 mana is a lot, even though this commander can be pretty brutal. I am going to be pretty much in the exact opposite of Hinata. Let's throw this in the D tier. So, moving forward, let's move on to Rocco Cabaretti Caterer, a 3/1 Elf Druid for X, red, green, white. This might be the only uncommon commander actually in the S tier considerations throughout the year. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast, you may search life for a creature card with mana value X or less, put on the battlefield, then shuffle. Basically, yeah, a tutor on a commander for a creature that you can get directly into play. There are some pretty busted things that you can do with this. I mean, essentially, yeah, I mean, if there are 2 creatures that basically combo together, all you need to do is, cast this, essentially. Go get that one creature, bounce it back to your hand, in a variety of ways, and then, recast to get that other combo creature. It's kind of like a multi-part Tooth and Nail in a way, essentially. Now, Obviously, I can take a good amount of mana. Obviously, I can take a good amount of time. It does have some flexibility to it in that it's like a toolbox commander. It can go get you the right creature for the right situation that you're in. So, Rocco, I am actually going to throw you into the C tier. Let's go with that for now. So, C tier. Sorry, Lord Zane, don't get too jealous that the common caterer is, or uncommon caterer is above you right now. Moving on, though, we've got Evelyn, the Covetous. A 2/5 vampire rogue with flash that costs 2, Dimir, black, Rakdos. Whenever it or another vampire enters the battlefield under your control, exile the top card of each player's library with a collection counter on it. Once each turn, you may play a card from exile with a collection counter on it if it's exiled by an ability you control, and you may spend mana as or mana of any color to cast it. I mean, this, Vampire is already a very powerful tribe. This is a very powerful vampire tribal commander, and one that can give you a lot of value throughout the game. The more vampires you can play, the more, collection you have, and the more cards you have access to. That being said, only once each turn you can play a card from exile. Now, that does, count your opponent's turns as well, so keep that in mind, for any instance and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, this, again, is a pretty powerful commander, but I still think, compared to some of the other ones on the list, it's probably going to be in the C tier. We'll see at the end of the day, though, but yeah, where are you at? There we go, Evelyn. C tier commander for now. And I know some of you probably screaming in the comments right now, no! And yeah, I mean, comment below with your thoughts on this, of course, but let's move on. To Anello, the Painter, a 1/3 vampire assassin with death touch that costs blue, black, red. The first instant sorcery spell you cast each turn has casualty 2. So basically, when you're casting, you can sacrifice creature power 2 or greater. When you do, you copy the spell, choose targets for the copy. This is a commander that, of course, can give you a ton of value throughout the game. Yeah, you can just utilize, some creature fodder, essentially, to, sacrifice them, double up on your spells. The first one you cast again each turn counts your opponent's turns as well if you're casting instants. But yeah, most importantly, and kind of what makes this commander incredibly potent is, well, the potential that it has for extra turns. So yeah, utilizing this as an extra turns commander can be incredibly brutal. I mean, just basically, again, just casting a single extra turn spell on your turn, sacrifice a creature that's got power 2 or greater, you get 2 extra turns for the price of 1. Of course, that's even bigger for, some bigger spells, expropriate, time stretch, those kind of things as well. I mean, it's just game over, essentially, once you start getting on that extra turns train. Of course, you can also utilize other spells to, get back your extra turn spells, the ones that don't exile, temporal manipulation, whatnot. But yeah, I think as an extra turns commander, this is incredibly potent, a low to the ground commander that can double up your spells very easily. Oh, my gut says right now that I might regret this, but we are going up to the S tier with that as well. Apparently, we're just missing the A and the B. Nothing in the middle, just really good commanders. No, I'm not going to say bad commanders. They're very powerful commanders, but in comparison, nowhere near these. So that's what I'm going to say for now. Zevlor, Elturel, Exile, a 4/2 Tiefling Warrior with Haste is our next one. Pay 2. Tap when you next cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a single opponent or a single permanent an opponent controls this turn. For each other opponent, choose that player a permanent they control. Copy that spell and the copy targets the chosen player or permanent. Basically, kind of doubling up or tripling up on your spells, that are, as long as you've got, 2 or 3 opponents in play, you're getting additional value out of this. For just 2 extra mana, you can basically copy the spell twice. So for single target removal, or for, spells that, specifically target one player, I mean, the big kind of a play could be something like a Cruel Ultimatum, which can be amazing. Can be somewhat mana intensive. Of course, you also can take more advantage of this commander, though, with some untap effects. At the end of the day, my gut right now, and this might change, is saying Zevlor in compared to the other commanders that are on this list so far. Oh, I'm going to regret this. We're going to go D tier. We're going to go D tier right now. I'm sorry, Zevlor fans out there. We're going to go D tier in comparison to the other ones. Again, this is the cream of the crop. It's not a bad thing to be in the D tier, of the, the best commanders, the most powerful commanders from 2022. But, oh, I might regret that. Zevlor, you are currently in the D tier, though. You might move. We'll see. Moving on. Myram, Sentinel Worm, a 6/6 Dragon Spear with Flying and Ward 2. It definitely did not need that Ward 2, Wizards. What in the world are you doing? For 3 green, blue, red. So 6 mana in total. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except that token is not legendary. If that dragon is legendary, this thing does basically whatever you want it to do for a dragon commander. Okay, it's a 6/6 for 6, flying, Ward 2 so it's protected, and hey, let's double up on every single one of our non-token dragons. Even our legendary dragons, because those become non-legendary then with the token, which of course, we're in blue. We've got ways then to clone that non-token version and get even more copies of it. So yeah, there's incredible amount of potential for this commander. You clone some incredibly powerful dragons. There's a lot of powerful dragons in these colors. And again, this commander that just is protected for some reason with a Ward 2. Not perfect protection, but still protection. Don't know why that was added onto it. Dragon's already a very powerful tribe. Oh, I'm sorry, Evelyn, but when it comes to tribal commanders, I think you got outclassed this year with Myram Sentinel Worm as a commander. And of course, I should mention that, yeah, this is a very good card in the 99 Dragon decks. But, you know, for this episode, we're talking about, you know, the considerations for them as a commander. But yeah, I think the B tier feels right for this one. Moving on. Rada Drabic of Urborg, a 3/3 zombie wizard with vigilance in Ward 2 that says other zombies you control have vigilance. And whenever another legendary creature you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary and it's a 2/2 black zombie issued to other colors and types. Basically, yeah, hey, you know that yellow thing we did with Myram, Sentinel Worm? Now we're going to be doing it with Rada Drabic. We're just going to say, hey, you know what? Ignore legendary. That's fine. Just have your legendary creatures die. Get copies of them. Oh, we'll also slap Ward 2 onto here. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between this one and the Sentinel Worm. This one obviously has access to less colors, although it is not, you know, limited essentially to, you know, dragons. There's plenty of incredibly powerful legendary creatures in, you know, these colors. And yeah, now they're going to have vigilance and become token copies. Oh, I mean, they're just going to be 2/2 token copies, but again, you can really take advantage of, you know, any ETBs, death triggers, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, there's some really brutal and broken things that you can do with this. Rada Drabic, I think you're actually just going to join your friend in the B tier. Let's just throw you in there, okay? You're in the B tier right now. I think that feels right. We're going to place you there right now, okay? Yeah, don't get too mad at me. Moving on, Sten Paranoid Partisan. This one, yeah, I think I know where it's going, but we'll see. A 2/2 human wizard for white-blue. Enters the battlefield, choose a card type other than creature or land. Spells you cast a chosen type cost 1 less to cast. And you can pay 1 white-blue, exile Sten, return to the battlefield, and resolve control to begin the next end step. So, yeah, with this, you have the potential to choose, again, anything other than, creature or lands. So, hey, instants, sorceries, planeswalkers, sure, but, artifacts. Yeah, I mean, with artifacts, this has an incredible amount of potential. Again, reducing the cost of artifacts is it can be a very broken thing because, well, artifacts generally only have generic mana for their costs. So yeah, if you've got an artifact that just costs 1, like, you know, a Soul Ring, you get this in play, you're playing that for free. And of course, there are some really crazy things that you can do where you can just have like kind of an artifact storm with this. It's also a commander that, you know, can be protected very easily. I mean, it's got a built-in ability to just, you know, blink it essentially. You can avoid board wipes too. Yeah, I mean, just for the kind of artifact storm potential, combo potential, I am going to have to just kind of, yeah, we're going to put this in the S tier. Sten, you're in the S tier. Oh, now I'm thinking I might need to move. Yep, okay, we're doing it. All right, Analo, I'm sorry. Fans of Analo out there, I'm moving it down. Oh, forgive me. Okay, anyways. This is very stressful. Anyways, next up, Maria, Scholar of Antiquity, a 3/3 Elf Artificer for 1 red and a green. Tap and untap non-token artifact you control, add green. Tap 2 untap non-token artifacts you control, exile the top card of your library. May play it this turn. Yeah, this one has a ton of potential. It's kind of like a mini Urza in a way. I mean, Urza is one of the most powerful commanders of all time. And we'll get to one of the new Urzas here in a bit, but the original Urza, yeah, basically letting you tap any artifacts for blue. Now, I will say that this one, obviously, since it does say non-token, there is more of a restriction on this. I mean, a slight restriction. This still can be incredibly powerful. And this one also gives you, access to cards off the top of your library, which can be very impactful as well. Green, red aren't the most impactful colors when it comes to being in artifacts. I mean, they're not terrible. I mean, red isn't terrible. Green's not all that great when it comes to being in artifacts. That being said, yeah, this does have a lot of potential. It is not Urza. It is kind of like a mini Urza in a way. We're going to go middle of the road compared to other ones right now. We're going to go with the B tier. That might change, but right now, we're going to go B tier. All right, we're going to go middle of the road, and I think it might stay there. We'll see. Moving on, Kadric Soul Kindler, a 4/3 dwarf wizard that says the legend rule doesn't apply to tokens you control. Whenever another non-token legendary permanent enters the battlefield under control, you may pay 1. If you do create a token that's a copy of it, token gains haste, sacrifice to be a next end step. So somewhat similar to our other, again, apparently this year is just the year of breaking the legend rule for wizards, where they're just like, hey, this commander just doesn't care about legendary. This commander doesn't either. Yeah, this one obviously has a lot of potential. You can really take advantage, of course, of ETBs specifically, or attack triggers on your non-token legendary permanents, because you get extra copies of them. That being said, it does cost you mana to do so, not a lot, and you do lose that token at the beginning of the end step, which might be a good thing, you know, maybe with a death trigger. This one, I keep going back and forth. I mean, it's definitely not in the same realm, I think, as these other, you know, legendary, tribal, kind of, you know, legendary permanents and taking advantage of those. It's not there, but okay, we're just going to go with it. We're going to go D tier for now. We're going to go D tier for now. That's just where my gut says it might be wrong. It really might be wrong. I might be very wrong about this. Let me know in the comments below how wrong I am about this. It might change, though. Anyways, moving on. Tell me how wrong about this one. Trazyn the Infinite, a 4/6 Necron with Death Touch that costs 4 black, has Prismatic Gallery. As long as Trazyn the Infinite is on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of all artifact cards in your graveyard. I mean, basically, like, what's that one called? Something slime, something ooze. Necrotic ooze, I think we got there. Basically that, but as a commander and just for artifacts, I mean, just for artifacts, but for artifacts, yeah, you can do some incredibly broken things with this. I mean, basically, this commander just has combo potential just written all over it. I mean, you can use some, you know, basically, you know, effects, some tutor effects to go grab cards, get them right in your graveyard. There's plenty of, you know, entomb type cards in black. Get the exact artifacts you need in your graveyard, maybe mill, you know, things in your graveyard too. Get those 2-card combos or whatnot, 3-card artifact combos that you need to just win on the spot. Essentially, it's a commander that can literally just, once you're set up properly, you play it, you win. That's basically all you need to do. You can essentially just win right then and there. There are plenty of ways to, you know, essentially maybe give this haste to, you know, have it tap for a certain amount of mana that might be less than the amount that it costs to untap it, those kinds of things. So, yeah, Trazyn the Infinite, again, incredible combo potential. Of course, can be built in other ways outside of combo, but yeah, I think that's definitely the kind of the route that would be most powerful with this one. And yeah, when it comes to it placing, it's not quite at the top because it is 6 mana still, but still, and it is monocolored. We are going to put it, though, in the A tier. It's going to be in the A tier. It's an A tier commander for now, at least for now. I mean, we only got a couple commanders left, so we'll see if anything shifts around. But yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with things are right now, maybe? I don't know. Anyways, Marneus Calgar is next. 3/5, Astartes Warrior with double strike that costs 2 white, blue, black. Yeah, definitely need that double strike. I'm just kidding. Anyways, whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. And it's got pay 6, create 2/2/2. White Astartes Warrior creature tokens with vigilance. So this commander also has combo potential, I should mention, because, yeah, there are certain ways you can kind of reduce the cost of that Chapter Master ability, and also ways to be able to sacrifice creatures for mana, like, you know, Ashdod's Altar, and also ways to make more tokens, you know, with an Annoyed Procession. So, yeah, you've definitely got some ways where you can basically go infinite with this. Well, not infinite, near infinite, because, yeah, you will mill yourself out, because that is not a May for the draw. So you basically draw your entire library. You're going to have ways to win from there. Yeah, ways to make infinite mana, essentially. Yeah, definitely some combo potential. Even without that combo potential, this one just, I mean, as long as you've got ways to consistently make tokens with this, which there are plenty of ways to consistently make tokens, you can just draw an absurd amount of cards throughout the game with this. I mean, it's very easy to set up. Even on your opponent's turns, you can just be drawing a ton of cards. There's no limitation for this, you know, triggers only once each turn, triggers only during your turn. The only limitation is 1 or more. So instead of just making a ton of tokens at once, you just make, you know, tokens over time with different effects. I mean, this card just has a lot of potential, you know, again, combo potential to give you some certain amount of value. You know, it's a 3-color commander that just, it's in some great colors for what it does. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to move this one, I think, all the way up into the A tier to join, you know, the fellow Warhammer 40k commander as well, up in that tier. So, yeah, it's definitely a very, very powerful commander that has a lot of potential. Moving on, speaking of potential, Urza Lord Protector / Urza Planeswalker. A 2/4 human artificer for 1 white blue that says artifact instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and by paying 7 if you both own and control Urza, an artifact named the Mightstone Weakstone, exile them, meld them together. Then you get Urza Planeswalker. My goodness, this has a ton of text. Here we go! 7 starting loyalty. Legendary Planeswalker Urza. Once during each of your turns, you may activate an additional loyalty ability of Urza Planeswalker, so you can activate twice. +2 artifact instant sorcery spells you cast this turn cost 2 less to cast, you gain 2 life. Gross. +1, draw 2 cards, discard a card. 0, create 2 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens. -3, exile target non-land permanent. -10, artifacts and planeswalkers you control get indestructible end of turn. Destroy all non-land permanents. Oh my goodness, this does anything and everything. I mean, even just the front side, I think, is literally in consideration just for an S tier. Again, with that reduction. Again, instant sorceries, and of course, the most important one, artifacts. So basically, like, Sten for 1 extra mana that doesn't protect itself, kind of, because, I mean, well, Again, the most important one of those, in my opinion, is artifacts, because it's got so much combo potential, but also reduce the cost of instant sorceries is a ton of value. But then when you say, oh, also, by the way, you know, if you happen to play the Mightstone Weakstone, you flip this over and you meld it and whatnot, yeah, you basically just pretty much win. Again, essentially that +2, doing that twice, making your artifact and sorcery spells cost 4 less, and you gain, you know, 4 life. Yeah, that's basically just game over. So, yeah, or even, I mean, even you're activating additional ones, essentially. It doesn't even have to, just one activation of that would basically win. So, yeah. Oh, goodness. I mean, yeah, I think Urza Lord Protector, Urza Planeswalker is an incredibly powerful commander, one of the most powerful commanders of this year, and definitely, again, cost reduction apparently is just on the mind right now because, yeah, Hinata cost reduction, Sten cost reduction, Urza cost reduction, it just shows how powerful those things are. Placing all of these in the S tier. And it looks like, I mean, I've got a perfect square right now, nearly, with these, you know, 3, 3, 3, 2, and 3. Let's see where the last one's going to end up, though. Is it going to end up as a C tier commander? I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see if we can get that perfect square. I'm not doing this intentionally. Anyways, Ashdod the Uncaring, a 1/4 Human Artificer with Death Touch that costs 2 blue, black, red. Whenever you activate an ability of an artifact or creature that isn't a mana ability, if one or more permanents were sacrificed to activate it, you may copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. So this is like a, I mean, Taste of Karlov is, you know, like the Panharmonicon, or the Death Harmonicon commander, right? Yarok is Panharmonicon commander. This one's like Sacrifice a Harmonicon commander. Basically, you're just doubling up on every single one of those activated abilities that require sacrificing. There are plenty of them. There are a lot of those out there that are incredibly powerful. Not nearly as many, you know, as Death Triggers for Teysa, or, you know, ETBs for Yarok, but still a really good amount. So I think where I'm going to end up with this one, and again, you've got access to 3 great colors for this, I think where I'm going to end up with this one is actually a middle tier commander when it compares to the other ones. So no perfect square right now. No, no 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. It's going to be 3, 3, 4, 2, 3. So, I mean, these C-tier commanders are feeling a little more lonely. Maybe I could move someone up with them, but I think I'm going to stick with this now. Yeah, I mean, again, this year had a lot of incredibly powerful commanders. Apparently, you know, when it comes to power levels, I mean, just cost reduction is always on my mind because, yeah, there's some really broken things you can do. You can have some really powerful turns, some really crazy turns, some just storm off turns. And I probably should have mentioned this earlier, and I'm mentioning it now. But yeah, when it comes to the considerations for this, I am doing this through, you know, a casual lens. Yes, but kind of the way that, you know, that myself and my playgroup play casual as well. So yes, certain combos are allowed and that kind of stuff. And, you know, if, you know, you're storming off, sure, I mean, it might have to take a couple of turns to get set up for that. It's not like, you know, a turn 1 win, though. This is not a EDH tier list. Obviously, that is going to be completely different from something like this. So yeah, just a note that I probably should mention earlier. This is from a more casual perspective, not from CDH. So yeah. Regardless, at the end of the day, I think this, I'm pretty happy with this. So this is my tier rankings for the 2022 commanders, those that made the S tiers in their respective sets and precons. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this. What did I get right? What did I get very wrong? Yeah, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. What are your personal tier list rankings for these? So yeah, let me know in the comments below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.